USC has been spending 2 years trying to find a way out of a contract to play LSU in Vegas because Lincoln Riley didn't want the game. This is according to multiple sources, and they have not been able to get out of it. Fox Sports even got involved and tried to further the process because they don't want, and this is where this all comes from, it sounds like the Big Ten is behind it, because they don't want USC's first game as a Big Ten member to be broadcast by ABC ESPN, which is the SEC's flagship network now. So this is a big
point. I can see the point. Is that a petty point? I see the point.
That's a petty point. That is a petty point. But USC, it sounds like Lincoln Riley himself has been wanting to get out of this game too for 2 years.
See, I was asking you. I don't think it's petty. I want my debut against the biggest team to be on my network and preferably team to team. Like this thing moved so incredibly quick. There wasn't a time to move up like an Iron Bowl first game of the year. Wouldn't that have been cool? Like a kickoff classic Iron Bowl or something like that. A kickoff classic Tennessee Alabama game, a kickoff classic Michigan Ohio State game. I mean, those things would have been super cool. And we entered this new phase of football, but no, we don't do that. We just stumble into it and hope that everything works out. That's the way college football works, right?
Yes, exactly. More than any other sport. And this game, for the record, is in Vegas. So that may not be petty from the Big Ten. I get it. But I think, honestly, I don't know if it's from the Big Ten or Fox Sports. Now, and this game is at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. So it's even closer to a home game for USC. Now, here's my question. SEC fans are going to be all over it. Oh my God, they're scared of the SEC. Everybody's scared of the SEC. And maybe that's true.
That's crazy.
But is USC really wrong for wanting to back out of this?
No, because they're being told by their new boss, the Big Ten, that this isn't. What's their first Big Ten game? Can you?
No, Lincoln Riley wanted out of this before even. On top of it, though, Lincoln Riley himself at USC wants out of it. He doesn't want to play this game.
Okay, well that's soft. But Lincoln Riley's always been soft, so we didn't learn anything then. But if your boss tells you to do it, then it's time to buck up and act soft.
I don't think it's soft. I think USC is smart, and the reason I think USC is smart, and everybody's forgetting this, Jimmy brought this up on the segment about the SEC scheduling. Guys, the Big Ten, you play 9 conference games. You only play 8 with the SEC. No. I'm sorry, but if you're playing 9 versus 8, You don't want to play that extra SEC. Why play that extra SEC game?
Nope. Agree with Peyton and hit that like and subscribe button.
They're like, that is total bullshit.
You cannot start backing out of games. That is soft. You don't back out of games. You gave them your word. Your word means something. You cannot back out of games, Caleb. It makes you look soft.
Okay, so was Tennessee soft when they canceled the Army game a couple years ago?
Yes.
I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant.
Very, very soft.
It was brilliant. No, you canceled that game.
You know what that was? You know what that was? Because I always buy a drink or sometimes a meal if I see somebody that's served. Because I know that I'm not tough enough, so they are. So to compare to them, I'm soft. So I say, may I buy you a drink? Here's the equivalent of what you're talking about. If they say, yeah, I'm having a bourbon and Coke. I'm having the Maker's Mark. It's $12.50, and then they pour a little of the Coke in there. And I say, no, I'm sorry. I think you just need to have a Coke. So, because I'm soft and I'm only going to pay for that $2 drink, I'm not going to pay for a $12 drink. That's soft to back out of there. I gave somebody an agreement. I offered to buy him a drink. That's the drink he ordered. I have to buy him that drink. I have to show up on that football field and play that game against Army.
No, you have a grueling SEC schedule, and you have to then go play a team that runs the triple option that you have to completely change your preparation for right before you play Florida. No. And I know it wasn't soft because in 2006, the worst decision scheduling-wise Tennessee ever made was to play Air Force right after Cal and right before Florida. And Dave, you remember that game. You covered it. That was the scary Inky Johnson injury game. Okay?
A little bit more
Tennessee lost.
scary.
Yes, exactly. Inky Johnson's career was ruined, and he almost died because of that game. And Justin Harrell went down for the year. If Tennessee doesn't play Air Force that year, guys, they're probably playing for the national title because they beat Florida.
And I would have covered the Alabama game that year, but I was suspended.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yes. Inky Johnson has generational NFL money if they don't play that game. Justin Harrell is probably a Pro Bowler in the NFL because his career wasn't ruined by an injury. I mean,
You're picking one game, Caleb. If you lost,
that ruined Tennessee. Yes, but because they ran the triple option and you sandwich it between two top 10 opponents in Cal and Florida. No, and that was ridiculously
Here's
stupid.
my rule on scheduling. This is really easy. Okay. First of all, the SEC is easy enough. If you want to schedule all patsies, you have the right. They have 9 opponents now, right? Correct?
No, the SEC's still stuck at 8. Big Ten has 9 opponents.
So they're at 8 or 9. You have the right for the rest of them to be patsies. This is my philosophy. It doesn't have to be yours because I do want to hear yours. You have the right to fill that out with patsies. That's fine.
If you schedule one tough game.
I like it, but I'm not going to be mad at my AD if he doesn't do it. Does that make sense?
Then USC has the right to back out of the LSU game to fill it with a patsy.
Okay, right. I don't have a problem with that. But you've given your word. You'll be there. I've given you my word on things, and you've given me your word on things. And you and I know we can trust each other. And I know that I can, and people know that they can trust to get their prizes. There are a lot of things that depend on trust. And saying you're not going to go play them is embarrassing for USC, and they're soft.
This isn't okay. There's a couple of types of trust, though. There is a trust of our trust is based on our futures and our careers and really pouring our heart into this business. This is playing a football game. USC and LSU will both be fine if they don't play this game. Okay, and the only thing that's standing out to me is LSU. Does USC think LSU is that much better? I don't think they do. I think it's more just they don't want to play 9 Big Ten games plus LSU. And also, you got to remember this: USC has to play Notre Dame, so USC only gets one non-Power 5 school this year, and that's Utah State. Maybe they shouldn't be backing out on their word, but I can't call them soft because they're playing every week. They have a Power 5 opponent basically, and so. Look, I'm one of those. I think when it was the old model where you had 8 conference games and 4 non-conference games, I was fine with I was always, my philosophy was to schedule one tough game, schedule one FCS team that you can beat up by 60 and they can get their little paycheck, you know what I mean? Just to put up video game scores, and then schedule 2 group of 5 teams. I just don't think this is a big problem, USC wanting to back out of this, because they made this decision before they knew they were going to the Big Ten.
I agree with that. But the decision was made. Contracts were signed. Hands were shook. That, to me, means you should be in the game. Period. I mean, if you're not in the game, then what's the point of even making these plans? I mean, I think these plans – now, the last half, I will say this. There are only 2 types of – you can, if you want to, sign one premier opponent. But don't joke around with me and tell me that it is North Carolina State. That, to me, is a stupid opponent. They could slip up and beat you, and what do you gain out of them? Does that opponent make any sense to you?
No, I agree. That was a beyond stupid opponent. It reminds me the stupidest one I ever remember that Tennessee did with that, outside of Air Force, which I'll never forgive for the stupidity of Air Force, was, remember when they scheduled Marshall, Dave? And Marshall had a really good program, and Tennessee got locked in a shootout with them.
Yeah, and that was the first game that I ever picked for the Knoxville News Sentinel sports page, or Knoxville News Sentinel sports page. The inside, we had a pick of everybody, and of all the media members in the entire market, I was the only person that picked Marshall. And if Stan Hill hadn't rolled his ankle at quarterback, Marshall wins that game and wins it easy.
You're right.
Third quarter. Look it up.
I mean, No, I remember. I watched that game. I remember because there was a certain defensive coordinator at Tennessee who, for whatever reason, could not figure out advanced offenses during that time.
So I think to combine, if we had an official off the hook sports stance, it would be 3 total patsies. Now I'm okay. You're not gonna like this part. I'm okay with the armed forces because I want to give back, and I'm okay. But other than that, I want it to be in state. I want to get back to ETSU. I want to get back to all of those schools. Are you cool? Are you jiving with that, or do you not want to play an armed forces school because they could do something?
I would never in a million years play an armed forces school, and you can accuse me of not being patriotic all day. Okay, I don't care. I think you know what, yes, they defend us overseas, but they injure our football players in America.
I understand. I understand. I feel about that. I feel a little bit differently about that. So those would be my rules. And once you make a promise to play somebody could get excited about that. You don't want to give that away. I mean, at least I don't want to give that away. I don't see any point in that.